So you're a skinny dude looking to build muscle mass. You've probably tried several different things over the past few months, but your results are either non-existent or incredibly slow. In today's video, I'm gonna tell you everything that firstly, you need to stop doing. This is what's causing you slow results or no results. Additionally, we're gonna be covering everything that you need to do with both your workouts and your diet so that you can expedite that muscle growth and get jacked fast. Build that muscle mass quicker than ever before. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start this off with exactly what not to do if you want to get jacked. Firstly, stop training your abs so much. Secondly, stop doing cardio. Third, stop training for longer than an hour. Also stop training 5 to 6 times per week. And also stop training your abs and stop drinking hella protein shakes if you're not doing this one very specific thing. So let's get into the workout section first. The workout frequency that you want to follow if you're a skinny guy is to train between 3 to 4 times per week. Now, the reason that you don't want to train 5, 6, sometimes 7 times per week, listen, I know you're ambitious and you want to build muscle, but those efforts are actually fairly counterproductive. The reason for this is because you're burning so much energy that you guys already have a tough time getting into your body. You have a tough time eating enough and getting in all the calories. And now you're gonna go out there and expend hundreds of calories, if not thousands of calories additionally in a week in an effort to build muscle mass. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Train 3 to 4 times per week. And when it comes to the duration of those workouts, train for no longer than an hour. I personally only work out for about 45 minutes. That's all it takes me. Again, if you're gonna be training for longer than an hour, you're burning more of those precious calories that you already have a tough time consuming. So those hour and a half, 2-hour workouts, again, counterproductive, and unless you're on a ton of gear, it's really gonna wind up biting you in the butt. Now, how should you actually structure your workouts? Listen, don't do the classic mistake that pretty much every idiot skinny guy does, and they go in and start, well, I'm gonna do bicep curls. I want big arms. Look, if you want big muscles and you want it fast, prioritize the biggest muscle groups, the things that are gonna get you the biggest bang for your buck. Because you see, muscle groups like your chest, your shoulders, your back, your legs, these muscle groups are significantly bigger than muscle groups like your biceps and your traps and your abdominal muscles, an area where a lot of skinny guys like to focus. I don't know why. I think it's just so counterproductive, because the growth you're gonna notice by prioritizing those big muscle groups first at the beginning of your workout and with the main focus of your workout is going to be many times more significant than if you were to put the exact same amount of effort and workout duration on a lot smaller muscle groups like, again, the biceps, the traps, and the abdominals. So you wanna put those muscle groups at the beginning of the workout when you have the most energy, when you have the most focus. That's gonna be your priority, and again, you're gonna really notice a lot of bang for your buck there. Now, when you go to train these muscle groups, let's go shoulders, for example, here. You don't wanna go, all right, we're gonna start a shoulder workout. Let's begin with lateral raises. Yes, lateral raises are a pretty good exercise for the deltoids, but it's primarily going to hit that medial deltoid. That's the middle part of your shoulder. That is if you're performing the exercise correctly. What we would prefer is a big compound movement that is going to incorporate not just the medial head, but also the anterior head, and is going to allow us to progressively overload with a heavier weight. A great example of this could be an overhead press, whether you're seated or standing, dumbbells or barbells, I don't care. The compound movement here is going to have many times more of an effect in helping you to grow those deltoids. But in addition, it's a compound movement, meaning it's a multi-joint movement. So when you're doing an overhead press, you're incorporating this joint right here, your elbow joint, as well your shoulder joint. So in addition to, yes, hitting your shoulders here, you're also going to be incorporating your triceps. Now, if you were to go with, say, a bench press, well, here's the great thing about a bench press to hit your chest, as opposed to doing, some pec decks or cable flies for the chest to isolate it. Again, multi-joint movement. So you're gonna be hitting, yes, those big boy titties, but in addition, you're gonna be hitting the anterior deltoid in addition to your triceps as well. It's a multi-joint movement that will hit multiple muscle groups. So when you come to attack these big muscle groups, do the very first exercise for these muscle groups as a compound movement. And then if you want to go ahead and demolition the muscle group right after with isolation focus exercises, by all means, go ahead and use an isolation exercise, such as some cable flies, directly after the compound movement of, say, a dumbbell incline bench press. And most importantly, you need to track the weights that you get as well as the repetitions. The reason we're doing this is so we can achieve this thing called progressive overload. I don't know how many times I can harp on it, but I hear all the time, I'm doing everything, but I can't build muscle mass. And I ask, well, are you tracking your weights? Are you lifting more than you did the last week, or at least trying to do that every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks? And the answer often is no. And that's a common reason you're not building muscle mass. Because if you're not challenging the muscle with doing more than it did previously, then it doesn't really have a reason to grow. Now, this can be achieved in 2 ways. Number one, the most obvious way, you can increase the weight and perform the same amount of repetitions, typically about 2.5 to 5 pounds extra on a compound movement. However, let's say you can't actually perform that extra weight with 2.5 to 5 pounds extra. Then go ahead, repeat the same weight that you did the week prior or the weight that you did 2 weeks prior, and try and get another 1 to 2 repetitions. And because I know I'm gonna get a ton of questions about what exact exercises should I do, how many reps, how many sets, if you need a workout program, I have this program that is going to be phenomenal for you guys. It's called the Lean Bulking Program. It's a 14-week gym program, and it's inside of my application. Yes, we've got our own app. It's called the BarbarianBody All Access app, and you can try it free for 7 days. Inside of there, you can take access of the Lean Bulking Program that will lay out the exact exercises that you want to do, the number of reps, the number of sets. In addition to that, we've got diet things in there. We've got home dumbbell workouts. We got a physique sculpting program. There's all different kinds of resources inside of that to help you to build muscle mass. You can go from skinny to jacked. Again, there's gonna be a link in the description. You can try it free for 7 days. Now next, let's get into the diet. This is actually going to be just as important, if not a little bit more important than just your training, because you could do everything right with your workouts. But if you're in a calorie deficit, meaning you're eating less than your caloric maintenance level is, you're not gonna be able to build muscle mass regardless of how hard you're training. Now, the first and most primary thing that you need to do is to get yourself into a calorie surplus. Now, what I typically recommend is between a 250 to 500 calorie daily surplus. That is for regular people. You guys are having a tough time to build muscle mass as it is. So I'm gonna recommend for you skinny guys, go up to that 500 calorie surplus every single day. So basically what this means is if your maintenance calories is 2,500 calories every single day, you wanna start consuming 3,000 calories every day because that's a 500 calorie surplus. And with that extra energy, those extra 500 calories, your body is gonna be able to put those extra calories to use to grow and build muscle mass. Now, I'm gonna give you 2 tips on how to actually hit your surplus because skinny guys always complain about how hard it is to eat that much food. I was there once as well. Look at me now. I've built some decent amount of muscle mass, so I'm gonna give you my 2 or 3 best hacks for solving that. Firstly, you wanna start off the first meal of the day. Your breakfast or whether you eat lunch, I don't care what it is, make your first meal the biggest meal. This personally for me, whenever I had an enormous meal where I completely stuffed myself in the morning, that's what really allowed me to have such ease with eating bigger meals for lunch, eating bigger meals for dinner, and actually I would have like 3 or 4 dinners. That's when I was a skinny guy. It just made the process of eating more food a lot easier. Now, what I liked to think of this as, I don't know if this is 100% official, was like stretching out my stomach. There's no proof of this or anything like that, but that's what it felt like for me. And it was very, very effective. So I highly encourage that you go ahead and give that a try. Don't eat to the point where you throw up, but get to the point when you're really, really full. Everything else will be a lot easier. Now, the next hack that I have for you here, we've got our 3 macronutrients, okay? We got protein, we got carbs, we got fats. Now, protein and carbs, they both are at 4 calories per gram. Cool, interesting science. Now here's the magic, quote unquote magic. Fats have 9 calories per gram. That's more than double the amount of calories for the same quantity. Meaning you're gonna be able to get double the calories without having to eat double the food. And some of the best foods to actually eat that are super high in fats include nuts, include seeds, include cheese, any form of dairy. And I'm gonna say this too, when I was really trying to build muscle mass, I would carry a block of cheese, it was like this big, with me every day to school. That thing packed in so many calories. Cheese tastes great. I'm lactose intolerant now. I really wish I could still do that. But you know, at that time, it was great. It was a super easy way for me to get in those calories. In addition to eat those nuts and seeds, I would go ahead and get myself a bag of trail mix. And those were like my 2 go-to staples to really help me to get a powerhouse of calories without having to absolutely stuff myself. Now, if you still have a tough time going ahead and eating these really big meals for lunch and for dinner and you just can't get it down, another hack that I utilized was just snacking throughout the day. So not only was I just, snacking on blocks of cheese and, high-fat foods, nuts and seeds, but I was also eating a whole bunch of other snacks throughout the day, and this really made it easy for me to get those calories in, as opposed to doing monster meals every breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because those leave you really tired after you're done eating that. You feel bloated every time you eat, and snacking was just a really quick and easy way for me to get those extra calories in throughout the day without feeling overly bloated. It really simplified the process of getting in those calories. Now, once you've achieved the caloric part and you're in your surplus, or that's your goal, now is when you can introduce the protein shakes. This is just water here right now, but you can introduce protein shakes, or the protein that you need for your diet, because there's a lot of guys that say, well, I'm gonna eat a ton of protein, right? I'm gonna eat like 20 eggs in a day, 2 breasts of chicken, and they're getting in a good protein intake, but they're in a calorie deficit. So it's kind of counterproductive again. Like, yeah, you're doing great with the protein, but you're in a calorie deficit. So your body's not going to want to build size. It's not going to be able to really build size because you don't have enough energy in the body to go ahead and build that muscle tissue. So once you've got the priority of the calorie surplus, next is when you add in the protein. And I always recommend 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you guys have a tough time eating protein, because a lot of people say this, oh, it's tough to eat all this meat and all this protein. It's really not, but if it is, go ahead and grab, as you see I'm wearing right here, EHPLabs. This is a company that I sponsor with. They have some of the best tasting protein shakes that I have yet to try. Their peanut butter puffs flavor that they have tastes insanely good. I've tried out so many different protein powders in my day, and they all taste like crap. Like, they're not good. This one is insane. Like, you can mix it with water and it tastes really good. And it's got these little crunchy pieces in there too. It's an interesting texture. Anyways, if you want to grab that, you can use my code Barbarian, get yourself a discount. There's going to be a link in the description, and that's just to help you get in your protein intake. Because, it's hard to get protein in from just regular foods. It's really not, but if it is, there you go. Get yourself a discount. It's really A1. So there you skinny guys go. That concludes today's video. Hey, follow all those tips and you will be able to go from skinny to jacked. You have to do it consistently, but I'm telling you, everything I gave you right there, that's going to give you the edge to building that muscle mass. Hey, again, if you want to grab yourself the lean bulking program for workouts, the exact exercises, the reps, the sets for 14 weeks, as well as diet plans, a whole bunch of other good stuff, then there's a link in the description where you can try BarbarianBody All Access. You'll find the lean bulking program, as well as 7 other programs that I have inside of there. Try it free for 7 days. Hey, if you made it this far, then go ahead and comment white boxing glove or just boxing glove down in the comment section below. So 1, I can see who made it this far, and 2, we can confuse everybody when they say, why is everybody commenting white boxing glove in the comment section? Hey, if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to smash that like button down below, and also be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.